Hello Year 1. Today I'm going to read you Chapter 10, the last chapter in The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy. So we know that Mildred has saved the day. She found a coven of witches in the forest who were planning to take over the school. And she turned them into snails and took them back to Miss Cackle and Miss Hardbrew. Let's see what happens next. Chapter 10. At noon, the rising bell clanged through the corridors, but Mildred pulled the pillow over her head and went back to sleep. It wasn't long before the door of her room burst open. "Wake up, Mildred!" shrieked Maud, seizing the pillow and hitting her friend over the head with it. Mildred screwed up her eyes against the daylight and saw what seemed to be hundreds of people around the bed, all talking and shouting. Maud was actually on the bed, bouncing up and down. "What's the matter?" asked Mildred sleepily. "As if you didn't know," replied Maud, breathless from bouncing. "The whole school's talking about it." "About what?" said Mildred, who was still half asleep. "Will you wake up?" shrieked Maud, pulling the bedclothes back. "You saved the whole school from Miss Cackle's wicked sister, that's all." Mildred sat bolt upright. "So I did," she exclaimed, and everyone laughed. "Miss Cackle's called a meeting in the Great Hall," said Dawn and Gloria, two other members of Form 1. "You'd better hurry and dress. She'll expect you to be there." Mildred jumped out of bed and her friends went off to the hall. She was soon ready and ran to join them, shoelaces trailing along the floor as usual. Maud had saved a place for her, and Mildred... Excuse me, please. Maud had saved a place for her, and Mildred was embarrassed to notice that everyone stared as she came into the hall. While they waited for the teachers to arrive, Mildred decided to tell her friend about Ethel. "Listen," she whispered, leaning towards Maud so that no one could hear. "It wasn't my fault about the display. Ethel cast a spell on the broomstick that she lent me, and I know because she told me. Don't tell anyone else, will you? But I wanted you to know because I don't want you thinking that I was just being clumsy." "But everyone already knows," said Maud. "Do they?" exclaimed Mildred. "Who told them?" "Well, you know what Ethel's like," replied Maud. "She just had to tell someone how clever she'd been. So she told Harriet, and Harriet thought it was a dreadful thing to do, so she told everyone else. No one's talking to Ethel now, and Miss Hardbroom found out too and was furious with her." "Shh," said someone. "They're coming." Everyone stood up as Miss Cackle came in, followed by Miss Hardbroom and all the other teachers. "You may sit down, girls," said the headmistress. "As you all know, the school narrowly escaped invasion this morning. Had it not been for a certain young member of the school, we should not be here, but would be hopping about, turned into frogs." The girls laughed. "No, no, girls, do not laugh. It would not be funny at all had it happened. However, as it did not happen, I proclaim the rest of the day today a half-holiday in honour of Mildred Hubble. Mildred, would you come up here for a moment?" Mildred went bright red and was pushed to her feet. She stumbled through the rows of chairs, tripping over her feet as she went, and clumped across the platform to Miss Cackle's table. "Now, don't be shy, my dear," said Miss Cackle, beaming. She turned to the school. "Come along, school. 3 cheers for our heroine, Mildred." Mildred blushed and twisted her fingers behind her back as the cheers rang out. "Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!" It was a relief to the heroine when it was all over. As they filed out of the hall, she was thumped on the back and congratulated by everyone, except for Ethel, who gave Mildred the nastiest look you've ever seen. "Good old Mill," yelled someone. "We'll get out of our chanting test thanks to you," said someone else. "Thanks for the holiday." "Thanks, Mill," and so on. Maud flung an arm around her friend. "You did look embarrassed," she said. "You went ever so red. I could see you from the back of the hall." "Oh, don't," said Mildred. "Let's go and fetch the kittens and make the most of our holiday." "One moment," said a chilling voice that they all knew so well. The two girls turned to find their form mistress standing behind them. They jumped to attention at once, wondering what they had done, which was a natural reaction whenever Miss Hardbrim spoke. This time, however, to their amazement, she smiled. A friendly smile, not like the usual curl at the corner of the lips. "I just wanted to say thank you, Mildred," she said. "Run along now, girls, and enjoy your holiday before it's over." She smiled again and vanished. The girls just stared at each other. "Sometimes," said Mildred, "I think she probably isn't as mean as we think she is." "Perhaps you're right, Mildred," said Miss Hardbrim's voice from behind Mildred's ear, and the two girls jumped in horror. Mildred grabbed her friend's hand and they hurried away down the corridor, out into the misty playground, leaving Miss Hardbrim's laughter echoing from nowhere along the empty passage. Oh, thank goodness it all worked out for Mildred after all. I don't think Miss Cackle's Academy for Witches is much like Thameside Primary, do you? I hope you enjoyed the story of Mildred.